A federal judge says the Justice Department cannot replace its legal team handling the dispute on whether to add a citizenship question to the 2020 census without explaining why it's doing so. And President Trump is speaking out. The president tweeted, "So now the Obama-appointed judge on the census case, are you a citizen of the United States, won't let the Justice Department use the lawyers that it wants to use. Could this be a first?" Well, joining me now is Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Hans, welcome back to the broadcast.
Sure, thanks for having me.
What do you make of the DOJ request just to change the legal team that's been handling the census case? I mean, is that in and of itself unusual?
A little bit, but I'm not surprised they did it because remember, as soon as the Supreme Court issued its decision, that legal team went back down to the lower court. The Supreme Court had remanded the case there and basically said, well, we're surrendering. We're not going to try to provide, more reasons for putting the citizenship question on there. It was clear to me that they hadn't talked to their client, the president, to see if that's the action he wanted to take, and that was a wrong step for the lawyers handling the case. So I'm not surprised they wanted to put new attorneys on it.
Okay, so the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 decision last month, said the rationale for adding the citizenship question to the census, enforcing Voting Rights Act, didn't match up with the evidence in your case. What's your take on that?
I think the court made a key mistake here. The Chief Justice joined with the 4 liberal justices to say that the rationale was not sufficient, but this was after the Chief Justice, along with the conservatives, found that it's both constitutional to have a citizenship question and that the Commerce Secretary had the legal authority to do it. That should have ended the case right there. It's very unusual for them to try to say that the rational reason, and it is a rational reason, I used to enforce the Voting Rights Act at the Justice Department, this data is needed to enforce it. That was not a good decision by the Chief Justice. I think he made a crucial mistake.
Okay, well, we don't yet know the details, but earlier this week, Attorney General William Barr said he does see a way legally to require the census response to declare whether or not they're citizens, despite the Supreme Court ruling. So what do you think's next?
He didn't give any details on how they're going to do it. I suspect they probably are looking at the president potentially signing an executive order to do this. The reason that might be the way to do it is that the Supreme Court was reviewing the rationale given by the Commerce Secretary under a federal statute called the Administrative Procedure Act. The APA does not apply to the president. So that would short circuit, I think, the court's review of that. It doesn't mean a lower court might still not try to issue an injunction against the president, but I think this is a way of getting that done.
Okay, we'll be following this to see what results as all this continues to sort of play out. Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, thanks so much.
Sure, thanks for having me.